That's okay.
Okay.
I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, I think are we live now? I don't know.
We are live. We are
Uh,
live.
oh, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic podcast. And for today, the Pink Bell Aloha show. We always do these shows together, and I really enjoy them. I have with me today, Pink Bell Aloha, and I just wanted to say I'm okay. I'm totally okay. I fell asleep before the show. I didn't want to be tired for the show. I didn't want to be falling asleep for the show, so I took a nap, and I must have zonked out because what's going on is my sleep is messed up from the trip. Like I didn't get a lot of sleep on the trip or during the trip because I was so excited during the trip. And then I didn't get a lot of sleep coming back from the trip. We were on the road for 2 days. So I've been trying to take naps when I can because my sleep at night hasn't been good. So I just zonked out and I was literally, so thank you guys so much for waiting for me. And thank you for sticking with me. And thank you so much, Bella, for waiting for me. I'm so sorry. I would
it's
never.
okay. No, we're just so glad you're okay. Like everybody was trying to message you just to make sure you're okay. We're glad. Naps are good. I was telling Rob, I got knocked out last night. By the way, you guys, we just got hit with a really, not an X flare, but an M flare hit us between last night and this morning. So I was just telling Rob, I got knocked out last night. He messaged me and I didn't even get it till like 10 o'clock at night. And then I went right to bed and I slept for 12 hours. So I totally get it. We are just happy. We're all here. We're alive, we're awake, and everyone's good. So we're good to go.
Yeah. And it's really interesting what's going on. We had a really interesting couple of weeks between the whole assassination thing that happened and then,
I wrote that down because I feel it's all connected. So we'll pull some cards around that today because it all happened around the same time.
Yeah, what was weird is like that whole thing that happened. Like I'm not very political at all, but my friend kept asking me to go but that rally was in Pennsylvania. It was in a place called Butler, which is like it was like 20 minutes from my house. Yeah. So
and I thought about that. I thought it was interesting. Yeah, I thought it was interesting because you weren't there. Like it was all so okay. So the outages were on the Friday on the 19th. And then when was the attempt on, we'll just call him Mr. T. When was the attempt on Mr. T?
That was the Saturday before that. That was the Saturday I left. It was Friday. Because I remember it was the day before I left it was the day that I left for Florida. Like it was I think it was that Friday. Because if I wouldn't have went to Florida, I would have ended up going to that rally because my friend really wanted me to go, but I decided to go on the trip to Florida instead. So
good. Yeah. And I'm glad that you weren't at the rally. So that was divine intervention and you needed to be at the trip. And the thing is that I understand there was a few things that went on there as well, that it was a bit crazy there as well. So with all of you there, I think there were some incidents that went on there as well. I don't know too much about it, but I'm not surprised. There were so many high vibe beings, all of you connecting and collectively in Florida. So I don't know if you know about any of that. You don't, but there were some things that were going on. And then of course, a lot of flights got canceled right after that. So there's even some people that weren't able to get out until today. They were canceled.
I remember, that happened the day we were leaving too. Like it was weird because we being at a resort, you don't hear a lot of news. You know what I mean? Like they don't have the news on everywhere. So like, I heard someone say it. They said they were like I overheard someone say they're like the internet went out, and that was and they're like flights went down. They said it had something to do with Google at first, and I was like, holy smokes!
We're gonna dive into it because it's the very first global outage based on supposedly a cybersecurity incident. But I wanted to let you all know, and Rob and I've talked about this privately. I used to be in IT. So I used to be in tech support. So I used to deal with like these security releases, and I worked for I'm not going to name them, but I worked for a huge global banking facility that a lot of the banking groups go around and buy out other banks. So when I started working for this bank, it wasn't as global as it was by the time I left. I worked for them for 10 years. So by the time I left, this is the kind of stuff I was dealing with. I was dealing with us releasing security updates. And one little update could just throw the entire banking system offline. So it's crazy. But we're going to look into it because I wanted to look at why suddenly it wasn't just local to one country. It was everywhere. and all the flights got grounded, which meant, to me, I feel, and I did ask already, and we're going to pull some cards around this. I already felt like they needed to have all the civilian air traffic on the ground. They needed to have it all on the ground so something else could be happening, and everybody needed to be on the ground and be protected.
Yeah. What do you think was going on on a higher level, if you had to guess? I mean, and you again, you were in IT for so many years. So like, what do you think was going on with I gotta turn my lights on. What do you think was going on with the whole situation? Do you think it was like bad or timing or something like that? Or what do you think was happening?
Well, isn't this interesting that it's the very first time that they've released a security patch or installed something new, and it took the whole internet down on the whole planet? Like that, like right off the bat, like a red flag goes up for me. And then the second thing is, even in all the IT stuff, they test things. Like there's lots of tests that happen prior to them doing that. So even if they'd done a simulation, it would have taken something out. So I'm already getting a headache about it. So intuitively, we're going to look at it, but intuitively, I feel like there were a bunch of things going on in the background that the systems needed to be shut down. While I was waiting for you, I asked, so I got some, and I feel it's going to be a positive thing for all of us. Like, I feel like I did pull some cards around it. We'll pull some more, and I want, we'll ask certain questions, but I feel like everybody needed to be on the ground. The internet needed to be reset, and not just for one country, but globally. And I wasn't able to find any videos for us to look at, because I think it's still too fresh. It's still too new. People are still trying to unpack kind of what happened. But the last time I saw the map footage of all the flights being grounded was 4 years ago, when this happened, and and the lockdowns, all the planes got grounded. I also checked into that anyone that was already in flight, they allowed those flights to complete and land where they were supposed to, and then it got shut down. And also what it did then, it was like this ripple effect. So now lots of souls who are trying to get flights, that's why they're still waiting, because everything got grounded, and then they're trying to reschedule everything. But I was just thinking, Rob, how amazing that you and the tribe that you drove down with, that you guys chose to drive. Because if you hadn't chosen to drive, you too would have been stuck still in Florida waiting for flights to get back. Like, how crazy is that?
There was a point where I was about to, I mean, trust me, it was pretty, we went with, I went with my friend Maya, and then she brought her daughter.
Yeah.
And then we went with it. We took another couple with us, Rachel and Chris, and they brought their son, who was like 3 months old. So we had a car with 2 kids, and the kids were like crying a lot. So it was like, there were times where I was like, hey, what if we just flew? But I didn't want to like just like bail out on them, because they're really good people, and they, they are all like really nice to me and everything by, taking me down there. So I was like, I can't just leave now and fly down or fly out of here. You know what I mean? I had to like stick it out, even though like our trip down there and our trip back took like 2 days each way.
It did, but have you ever done like that drive before? Have you ever seen like all the country and everything?
No, I went to North Carolina. I went from Pittsburgh to North Carolina, but I've never went from Pittsburgh to Florida, which is like basically the whole country minus the upper East Coast. It's like minus. Pittsburgh's pretty far up here. We're pretty far up north. So it was interesting. It was really fun though. It really was. Like,
well, I feel like it was divine intervention that you all did that, and that also, like, I call that grid work, even if we're doing it unconsciously. Like, all of your energy needed to kind of go down the roadways and the pathways together. I know, like, road trips with a lot of people, it's hard work, but I also think, like, what an adventure. Like, you can look back on it and go, hey, I did this road trip down to Florida and back. Like, how cool is that? Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, and the event itself was pretty amazing. A lot of people were like activating off the event. Everybody felt like it was like soul family. And I'm doing a conference. I don't have this announced, but we're doing a conference recap show on my channel tonight. So I'll have like, I'll have like maybe I think that I invited like 12 or 13 people from the conference. Like like me, Matthew Mornian, Sean Bond, Daryl James, like, just some of the, Arkeem Ra, Drago Reed, like we're all going to be, cool. It's going to be a big surprise for the audience. Like, we're going to do that tonight at 7, I think. Like, So, and then I've invited more people. I invited like 13 people. So I invited like a bunch of people who are at the conference, so it's going to be
Good.
fun. It's going to be fun for sure.
So that's 7 p.m. EST, 4 p.m. PST. Everyone's
Yeah.
trying to figure that out. Okay, cool. All right. So I pulled some cards, and then we can pull some more cards because I also did a collective reading for us as well. Okay. So the company, a couple things. The company is called Crowdcast that implemented the security patch that apparently took everything out. Okay. Really? It took everything out? Like not just the flights out, but it took the whole internet out across the globe? Yeah, way more going on. Way more going on than just that. Because if everybody had known that that was going to happen, they would have tried it just in one country. Now, what's interesting is I had a friend that was a Starseed friend that was trying to get back to Australia. Everything in Australia shut down. So like banks and everything, like everything got shut down. So to me, it was almost as if like they slammed it into Australia first, and then they did it all the way around. And it could be because a lot of the flights to Australia are long haul flights. Like wherever you're on the planet, I used to live there and I traveled there. Wherever you're on the planet, you're trying to get to Australia. It's a long way. It's like your road trip.
Do you think they were trying to? Do you think they were trying to do this? Do you see like something malevolent, like now the lockdowns were? I don't want to talk much, but like you remember the lockdowns, how bad they were. Do you think this was something of that nature, or what? Do you think this had a different? Usually, there's malevolent planning behind every event. It seems like there's always like a psyop or a false flag behind. I'm trying to depict what could have been that the deep state or whoever it is had to ground every flight and take down the internet. And, it's exactly. Something was going on, okay. I don't know.
So this is the transmission that I got, and I'll look at the cards, and then we can pull some other cards. You can ask like maybe a direct question for the cards. So first off, the company Crowdcast, we all know about them now. So now they need that company, for whatever reason, needed to come up to the surface because they're involved in a lot of things. Not good things. Okay. The second thing is that I asked, why did all the air traffic need to be grounded globally, not just country, globally? And I got all civilians needed to be safe. Everyone needed to be down on the ground and safe. Plus there were galactic ships that were doing things that they didn't want people to see.
Wow.
The third thing I got was there was a galactic grid transfer over from the old matrix to the new matrix system, and in a positive way. Okay. So
It's interesting.
So let me just see what, so I've got this deck called the Galactic Heritage cards. I just started reusing them again because there's like dark ET stuff in here too. So that's one of the questions I want to pull with the cards too. I want to see what was going on behind the scenes, if the dark ETs were involved in it, or if we are, we're moving ahead as a collective. So from the cards I've already pulled, it's a positive thing. We got 63 seeking karmic balance. So the Palladians, they're saying that it's a positive thing. We're graduating. We're graduating into a higher, because so many of us are awake now and we're doing our shadow work, and many people are leaving the matrix and unplugging from it. And I feel like even that event in Florida was divinely orchestrated for all of you to be there to do the work that you needed to do to start to solidify all the communities. Okay. Now this is interesting. We got, and there's cards. This deck is huge. I don't even know half the cards. So we got 29 hive mind insectoids. So they were sharing with me, they did a big clear out of reptilians during that time as well.
Wow.
Right.
That's
interesting. Number 72, spiritual commitment, Vega's connected to the Lyran system. So we are right now, everyone, the sun is in Leo. We are all preparing, no matter what we label ourselves, for the Lion's Gate. We're in the Leo energy, stepping into our power. Vega is part of the Lyran system. That's what I started to integrate last year. And it says spiritual commitment, 72. So on a deep soul level, this is an opportunity, if you haven't done already, but many of us already have, we're recommitting to our journey. We're recommitting to our spiritual journey. We're recommitting to we're done. We're done with being controlled. We're done with the matrix. We don't want to be controlled anymore, but we have to work together and we have to work from our hearts. Okay. So they're saying, yes, keep committing to that. Keep committing to being the best version of yourself that you can be, and don't allow that energy to interfere with you. And then we got number 76, graduation. So it's a positive. It's a positive thing. I also got that there's a we're graduating as a collective. So I also got that we're moving more into a higher frequency version of Earth. All of us as a collective, because we're doing our work, and we're also they have to kind of, like, what I've been going through is, like, they've been showing me they're unplugging us as best they can, and they just did it. They're just doing a big unplug now from all of us being in this old. So let's do an old computer analogy. So Rob and I can relate to this. An old DOS-based dial-up internet system. So that's what we've all been in. So they're unplugging us all from that, and they're moving us all over into a higher frequency crystalline grid system. So that's the message I got. But they have to do it like one step at a time. And I feel like the story is going to keep unfolding. Like, I feel like even the next time that you and I connect, there's going to be more pieces to the puzzle, because that happened on Friday the 19th. And then guess what? Your current commander in chief pulled the plug on Sunday, or the plug was pulled on him. And his account on X has been deleted. And then the following, it was either Sunday or Monday, there was an announcement for a new person. I don't want to talk too politically, Robin. I don't like doing that. But
I just want to say that, like, I almost have to endorse Trump at this point, because I can't, if I'm going to vote, I can't vote for the other side.
Well, and let's just call him Mr. T, so we don't get any. He might be the best. He might be the best choice. Like, I'm not political at all. I try to see through all of it, but it's almost like there's no other choice. You know what I mean? I mean, the other side's so bad that you can't even, it's like, but I don't even want to get involved in that, but that's where I stand. I feel like it is all connected, right? Because you guys left, there was the attempt near you. Yeah. Then a week later, then all of the internet and everything gets, like, pulled. And then there's these new announcements on the Sunday and Monday following. So what should we ask the cards? Do you want to look at the company that's involved? Do you want to look at me to pull?
What's up with this company? How did they pull the plug on the whole internet? Like, that's what I'd like to know. Like, what were they think? What was going on with that?
So their name is called Crowdcast. And by the way, I'm thanking my client that came to me yesterday, because she was already deep diving into this. And, like, right away, I'm like, oh, this is huge. I have to look into this for me and Rob. So, and all of you. So thank everybody. Thank you for being here today. We're super excited about looking into this. And by the way, just before I look at the company, we, as a group, we are finalizing our Galactic graduation right now. So all this craziness too is so interesting, because we are graduating, and the Galactic New Year starts on July 26th, just a few days away, to prepare for the Lionsgate. And look at how much we've all grown since the Lionsgate last year. Like, the blinders are off. We're all going, it's crazy out there. There's so many things multidimensionally going on off planet. And we're going to look at that too, to see who off planet was involved in this process the last week or so. Yeah, they're called Crowdcast. So let me just pull some cards and just ask, what are they all about? What do we need to know about them? Okay, Five of Swords. So they've been part of the ongoing battle. So the battle's not just us and the Matrix, and it's not just us and the collective groups that have been running the Matrix, like the governments and all of that. The battle's also been on and off planet battle. Like, it's been a battle for Earth. It's been a battle for our souls. So the movie is starting to heat up, and I knew that your country was going to be a big part of it, because Pluto moved into Aquarius in January, and the last time that's for the country. That's the country chart. So the last time Pluto was in Aquarius for the U.S., the U.S. was born. The creative agreements and the independence agreements were created out of that just after 1776. So that's huge. Okay.
Wow. I wonder what the significance of that is with now. What's going on?
Well, I feel like this is a huge opportunity for a big transformation. And I've been wondering if it's going to be your country, which country was going to kind of go first to show the way. So now I'm really feeling it's your country. Okay. We also got the 8 of Pentacles. So they worked very hard. This company worked very hard to create this outcome. So it was a planned outage. It wasn't an accident. That's what they're sharing with me. Okay. Then we got the 10 of Cups. So that kind of, which is one of the best cards in the deck. So overall, it's going to be a very positive outcome for all of us. It was a necessary outage for many reasons, but also like to start elevating our grid system for all of us to move into, you know, these higher frequencies and these abilities and all of that as a collective, right? So that's really, really positive. I will share with you as well. I bet you, let's say there were power outages as well, or the internet went down. A lot of souls are like, what can I do if that happens again? What do I need to do? How can I plan for that? So I started to do that in December. I had a power outage for like 8 hours just before Christmas. I had no idea where my candles were or anything. I put together an emergency kit. And I ordered a solar powered lantern, and I'm going to do a radio as well, like order one of those as well. So start to think about, like, if something happens and it throws our internet out, or like, how else are you going to connect with people? Do you have what you need? The other message was a number of years ago, like maybe late mid 90s, there was a grid outage, and I think it happened around the Niagara Falls area in New York. It kicked out the grids in Toronto, in Ontario, and the grids were out for 3 days. That was,
wow.
And the internet was just starting. But what I learned from that was nobody could get anything. No one could put gas in their car. No one could get money out of the bank with their ATM. Like, they could go into the bank, but nobody could actually access anything, including getting groceries and all of that. So that's why cash is still key. It's still key for us to have some cash on hand, because anything could happen at any time.
Well, you know, it's weird you said that. I just interviewed Preston Dennett. He's like a UFO researcher.
Yeah.
He's, you know, but he's been getting his information from this contactee. He interviews. Her name's Dolly Safran, and she's saying that the Earth's magnetic sphere is failing, basically, or it's weakening, and she thinks that we're going to have a solar event similar to like the Carrington event, which, you know, knocked out the grid of the whole power of the whole grid. He thinks this is going to be something like life changing, like, you know, like that, like, you know, the ETs are going to have to come and save us. This is literally what he just told me. I haven't put the episode out yet because I pre-recorded it, but he thinks that it's going to be something massive, like that it's going to. And I was like, I just don't see that happening. I don't know. I don't get into those end times, doomsday, you know, types of things.
But I do feel like it is an elevation. I just pulled some other cards. So I do feel like, because one of the questions I was wondering about was, you and I both know there's been a galactic battle going on, even though we can't see it. So we know that Earth is a precious little gem in the middle of everything, that everybody, like, that's why it's been controlled for so long, because the other beings, the dark ETs, they have controlled the system. And even though we're all unconsciously remembering now, we all agreed to incarnate at this time to start to remember, to start to grow, to take our sovereignty back. That was one message that did come in: sovereignty. We're to continue to say statements of sovereignty. And the other thing is that many of us will be going through some type of initiation right now, even though it might seem inconvenient. So the battle still continues. However, I am getting that it is going to be successful for us, but we all have to keep doing our work around it. And I think there's a little bit of truth to everything. So I feel like there are all these multiple timelines unfolding, and we don't know which one is going to manifest for us all. But we don't have to be on a grid system where everything fails. I do know that the benevolent ETs are waiting for an opportunity to come in to help us. It's like they have this sort of non-interference with the space-time continuum thing, you know, like on all those Star Trek shows. So they kind of have that as agreement, like we're supposed to kind of get it. But the thing is that we have come so far. So many people have woken up since 2020, but we're still in a huge process of a lot of people believing everything that many of us know. So they are waiting for a caveat to come in to assist us as well. So what did I get? I got the I think you just did a show about this. I didn't get a chance to listen to about the Zetas. So that it was connected to the Zetas. That would make sense with that reptilian card that I already pulled. So they're still doing a cleanup around them, and it's probably the ones that are hanging on for dear life that don't want to give up. Like they're down here going, no, not giving up Earth. We've had Earth for thousands of years. Okay. Then we have the Palladians that came in with love. So that's what I've been getting, like, just as much as this craziness is going on, detach as much as you can. You all get back into your heart. And we are going through these massive initiations right now before the new year on the 26th. And some of you might be going through it from now through the Lion's Gate. So the overall message is recalibration, and it says guardian healing shield. So I feel it is the benevolent beings coming in and upgrading our grid system to benefit us.
Can I ask you a question? How is Sirius B related to this? Because you had that in the title as well.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so Sirius B is actually our second sun. So you know how we did that show the last time we were talking about multiple suns? Yeah. And Sirius B is our second sun. And we actually are closer to that star system now more than ever. And I've got the card out, actually. This is the card they guided me to show, like, in 2017 around this time. So see that bright, so see the stars lined over the pyramids in Giza, that is the Orion system. And the bright star just above it, that's Sirius B. So we call that the central sun. So that, when people are taking images of more than one sun, oftentimes they're catching the Sirius sun because we are farther along in the photon belt. That's the other reason that we're able to all wake up and we're being supported right now. Our galaxy is moving deeper into the photon belt. The photon belt is connected to the universal forces that are saying it's time to wake up now, everyone. It's time for Earth to come back online.
I don't know if I told you about this. Gerald Clark felt the same way. He died. He wrote the books The Anunnaki and Nibiru, The Seventh Planet Mercury Rising. But he was saying that, like, we were going through he said the Earth was going through the galactic center of the Milky Way, and like you said, the photon belt. And he said once you get there, there's a large amount of energy that's going to shift and, like, be placed on the Earth. And he honestly felt like, I don't know if I ever told you this, he felt like that it would be like a time where humans could literally transmutate, like, our physical bodies. He thought that it was going to be that big of a energy exchange. Like, he thought that this would be a massive consciousness awakening, because of this activity in the photon belt. Is that kind of what you're saying, or what?
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. And it's been slow. It's been a slow process. It started in 1987. So there have been groups of, like Dolores Cannon used to talk about, their waves of light workers and starseeds that started to wake up early and started to do work around the planet. So there's something called the harmonic convergence that started in 1987. I was given a book about the Pleiadians that was written in 1988 outside of Mount Shasta. It was a download. It was a transmission. And it already talked about the photon belt and these galactic cycles all the way back in 1988, like before the internet. So it's been a slow process. So every 10 years, it's getting stronger and stronger. The signal's getting louder and louder. And that's why the initiations are happening too, because we have to kind of go through these integrity tests to make sure we're not going to jump over to the dark side, that we're going to use our abilities for good, that we're going to be able to visualize and manifest, but we're going to manifest for the good of the collective and the planet, not just like, oh, I want this for me. And it's okay to want that. That's okay. But it's just like, that's all we've been programmed to do, to keep us in the system, to just keep wanting and wanting and wanting and not sit still and realize, oh, no, we actually came in to help the planet. And
it's about service to others, right? Instead of service to self. Is that what they say?
Yes, exactly. And I've got a really good comparison chart I'll send you for the next session that we do. So yeah, service to humanity, right? It's like what Rob's doing, what I'm doing. We're being a service to humanity. And because we see the bigger picture, because Rob has been in the system full time, and so have I, and many of you have as well. And it's been frustrating at times because we've wanted it to progress faster and sooner. But yeah, so Sirius B right now is part of this journey to prepare us for the Lion's Gate. So it wakes up a lot of starseeds and light workers. It's like everybody starts to get, like, symbolism, signs, dreams, the 11:11 on the clock. A lot of things get removed out of everyone's reality around this time as well, to wake them up, to help them start questioning, like, why does this keep happening to me? Why am I here? What's my purpose? You all have a purpose. You all have a mission. And some of you are getting, like, these downloads right now of future schematics to help clean up Earth. And the other thing is, some of you might be getting weird dreams about ETs that do not look like you and I. that freak you out. It doesn't mean that they're dark ETs, and that's why we need to claim our sovereignty and set these intentions before we go to sleep as well, and make crystal clear who we're going to interact with. We don't just go hang out in the astral anymore. We got to be super clear about it, because those other beings are just waiting. They're just waiting for us. Oh, there's another one. Let's go play with that one and freak them out. And they want to freak us out so that we don't, so let's say, okay, are we all ready? Are we all ready for the bar scene from the Star Wars movie where all these weird ETs show up? Is everybody ready for that? Or is that going to freak you out?
I think it would freak me out. I think it would freak me out.
Me too. Me too. So they're slowly coming to us. They're slowly coming to us in forms that we can feel comfortable with.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the indoctrination, right? They wanted us to believe for so long that we were here alone, that we were the only thing that, like, because they do that with religious programming. They wanted you to believe that, like, you're the only thing here on earth and that you die for sins and all that stuff, and it's just like a big trap. It's actually I don't know. I think you know what I'm trying to say, right? I don't know.
Absolutely, yeah. And I have some advanced souls that I'm working with right now that are having dreams about ETs, and they don't look like us. Some of them look like insects, but then they just go by their feelings. Like, I didn't feel threatened. The other thing is that some of the dreams will take place where you all live, or I find if it's like a galactic dream, when we've been on a ship, they'll bring us a dream like we're on a plane, we're at an airport, we're on a bus. And oftentimes I will get dreams of a location that's familiar to me, like my childhood home growing up. And it's not, I'm getting goosebumps. It's not physically here. Like, when we dream, we move into another realm. That's why we can kind of direct where we want to go. We can meet up with our guides. We can meet up with our team of light. We can go to school. We can elevate everything. And the thing is that what happens is some of them are weird dreams. They're testing us to see how we'll react. And oftentimes that part of the initiation is to stay lucid in that dream, to realize you're in another scenario. So think about again, Star Trek, think about the holodeck, going into a holodeck experience, and it's like a training program. Okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to freak out? Are you going to do whatever I tell you to do? And oftentimes it'll be like you saying, I'll wake myself up when I go through that. Like, I'll realize I'm in a weird scenario, and I'm like, no, I'm out of here. I'm transporting out of here. And then I'll wake up. But sometimes it's really good. You can have visitations with past loved ones, right? I've had that happen as well, which is super cool. So
I've got this chart. I got this comment up on the screen from Jack. She says, my dreams have been wild with ETs lately. Do you think that's happening with a lot of people? Do you think they're starting to show themselves to people through dreams?
Yes, I agree. And Jax, I don't know if you can type and let us know what you've been seeing. Have you been seeing like energetic versions? Have you been seeing like weird things that have been scaring you? Because it's good for all of us to talk about, because I feel like that's part of our initiation process right now, to make sure that we stay in our integrity. Yeah,
I'm gonna pull the chat up on my phone too, so I can.
Okay, I feel like it's part of our training. It's part of our initiations as well. So we're all leveling up right now. So how can they help us level up? They can't all land their ships and jump out and come and have coffee and tea with us, because many of them don't look like us, and many of them can't change their shapes to look like us. So they're slowly allowing us to remember. So I don't know, Rob, this is a good question for both of us. When did you realize that there was life on other planets? Do you remember how old you were?
I was probably around, it was probably when I was 21, because that's when I was listening to the Art Bell show, and I was like really fascinated with like UFOs and the paranormal back then. That's why I was drawn to it. I always thought that something else was going on. I just didn't know what. And then I had my reawakening in 2016. But then I realized, like, I had always listened to like UFO talk radio. I was always into like radio, but I didn't want to listen to political radio or news. I was like, shit was always boring to me. I always wanted to find like the late night UFO radio that was going on. Because I always wanted to hear about the weird things that were going on in other star systems or galaxies, because I felt like it was real. You know what I mean? I really did. I always wanted to believe that something else was out there.
I agree. And I went on a big search about it. So I would say, even as a kid, the original Star Trek series was such a that was such a crazy thing for them to have on TV in the 60s, as well as like Lost in Space. Like they had like these outer space shows, like the Outer Limits, and you know what I mean? Like they had these shows already, and I know they already had, and before that they had radio shows. So they've already been kind of preparing us along the way. And I think like even when like the new Star Trek series came out, the Star Wars movies, all the Galactic movies came out, I went on a big search and I started to like research books about the benevolent ETs. Whitley Strieber had written a book about the Grace. I can't remember what it was called.
It's called Communion.
Yeah. So I bought that paperback, and I was reading it in public because I thought I want to find other people that believe like me. Yeah, Fox Mulder believes. That's why X-Files were such a big.
That was a great comment by Jason Hartman. I wanted to put that up. I thought that was great. You know, Braden himself. Braden's an awesome guy. He says too. He says The Outer Limits was wild and a fun series. I'm putting it up on the screen if it comes up now.
It was.
Yeah, there it is. He says
Outer Limits was fun. And what was the other one with the guy? There were always the weird scenarios. It was
there was the one with William Shatner. It was called they have your I can't remember. It was I can't remember the name of it. It was you can watch it on YouTube. But it's that was like a groundbreaking series as well. And then there was always like on mainstream TV there was Unsolved Mysteries. There was sightings. Sightings didn't last long, but there, sightings.
It was a black and white series. It was out at the same time as Outer Limits. So it was all these weird scenarios, like where somebody would go to work and they would come home and their whole family was different. And I can see the guy like announcing about it. I just can't remember the name of it. So maybe someone out there can remember the name, but they were already preparing us for it. So yeah, just like Rob, like I think as soon as we connected into some type of like ET sightings, UFOs, like that's why X-Files was such a big hit, because it was another level of more information being downloaded for us to prepare, right?
Yeah.
Twilight Zone. Thank you, Andromeda. I was trying to think of the Twilight Zone.
That's Twilight Zone. I'll put that up on the screen. That was a great show.
It was good, but it freaked me out. Yeah.
It was way ahead of its time. Let's be honest. It was way ahead of its time,
Yeah.
It really thought outside the box. It was
one of the
great.
shows. One of the shows I want to do with you in the future is about when all of this technology actually started, because I feel like I feel like we're catching up to it. I feel like the AI has been here for a long time. That all of the other technology has been here for a long time, and they've been preparing us for it. So even before Roswell, even like to me, I feel like it goes all the way back to, I can't say the word, NAZI, Germany. I feel like that's a big component of it as well.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, if you listen to Colonel Corso, he wrote a book called The Day After Roswell, where he talks about that a lot of this technology we have now came from crashed UFOs, and that he was part of a special sector of the government where he was handed parts of UFO crashes, and he had to disperse them to defense contractors. And he said it was very real. He said it's like how we got Velcro. I know it sounds funny, and fiber optics and stuff like that. So, and also there was also a thing on the internet that said that we've had the internet since the Vietnam War, that the government had some form of the internet since the Vietnam War, but then I can
attest to that, because I worked for tech companies early. I worked for tech companies. My very first tech company job as a programmer was in the late 80s. They already had the internet.
Wow.
So the internet was already part of the collective tech companies and also universities.
Wow.
So I never questioned what it was or where it came from. I just remember thinking, well, this is so cool. Why can't I can email? Like I was already emailing people in the 80s, but I couldn't email people. Yeah, but I couldn't email people at home. But there were links in companies where I could email people in Vancouver to California and back.
Wow.
Yeah, right? Yeah, so we had this whole so at home we got the dial-up internet, and in IT tech companies it was way ahead. So
what was so weird? Like when the internet came out in like 95 or whatever, 96, it seemed as like it came out like so seamlessly, like that it was almost like we already all knew about it or something, like we had already experienced it in a previous life or something like that, because it came out pretty seamlessly. People knew how to use it pretty easily, and it was just something like it was something like, I don't know, it's so weird.
Suddenly it was just there. I agree.
Yeah, it changed the world.
Yeah, I was traveling in Australia, and it hit there when I was working there. I think the company I was working at, they announced, oh yeah, we're on the internet now, whatever. And then when I came back to Vancouver, same thing. Like all the companies like, oh, you have to know how to use the internet. And it was so interesting. And I do remember 2 years prior to that, I worked for the Microspace Soft company, and they already had it. And they were already prepared. There had been a transition in power in your country, and the previous people didn't want to use any technology, and the new people did. So the internet, they were already working with the bodies to upgrade everybody, which is so. And I worked on that project.
Oh my God, Derek, he goes by Wura. He said you got mail. Remember that?
Yeah,
you got mail. That was hilarious.
It was hilarious, and even the dial-up internet was hilarious too.
Like yeah. Do you remember the AOL chat rooms? Do you remember that?
AOL chat rooms, and wasn't there MySpace was before Facebook and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
right?
MySpace was hilarious. Yeah,
So I feel like you're right. I feel like suddenly it was seamless. Like suddenly it was just there, and everybody was using it. And the other thing is we probably, as a collective, were in dreams at meetings. Like we were in having meetings, and then we just, like when we woke up, we were just like, oh yeah, so it's here now. It's cool, right? Like it just wasn't a big deal to a lot of us. Plus, they'd already been preparing us. They'd already been showing us the Star Trek shows where everybody was like, they were having video chats. They were transported to places. Like, so, it wasn't just a dream anymore. It was actually happening. We're like, cool, yeah. So,
yeah,
that's cool. And I would say, okay, so before the lockdowns, I would say a majority of souls were terrified about even being on a video call. So that was a big elevation. That was actually a plus side. A lot of people were forced to do video calls after that. Like they were working from home, and it elevated the collective just in that. Like people got over the fear of talking to people on video chats. So
yeah, now it's a way of life. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's become everybody's trying to do a podcast, and it's really like it's changed the world, the way the world works. It really has.
And we're grateful for podcasters like you, Rob. We're grateful for you.
Oh, thanks.
Because you bring people from all over the world, and you show all these different perspectives. So that's what we need. We need neutral souls to do that.
Thank you. I try. It's hard. Trying to stay neutral. Because people try to pull you in different directions.
So this is a good point that you're bringing up. So there's going to be a lot happening in your country from now through November. It's the biggest gift you guys can all give yourselves right now, and use this as an example. So think about New Year's Eve. So we're heading into a galactic Lightworker New Year's Eve on the 25th, which is tomorrow. And the 26th is the beginning of the new Galactic New Year, the new cycle, preparing us for the Lion's Gate. So this time last year for the Lion's Gate, I got a nice Lion's Gate. It was the first time I actually had like a couple days off to meditate and whatever. And then remember 4 days after that, Lahaina, the thing happened in Lahaina, Maui, and more things after that. So it's like we all graduated from being these like just being love and light to now understanding there's way more going on. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes in your country. You are going to get these things that are going to pull at you to want to choose sides. So we want to try and stay neutral. So find some tools to use every night, to unplug every night when you're sleeping, to reprogram your frequency, to not be judgmental, to be in your heart, to just keep doing that, because we get a reboot every night. It's Groundhog Day. We get Groundhog Day every single day. And the only way that we know that something different is happening is when there's something weird going on in the Matrix. But this is a big part of the movie, is what's going on in your country. And it's going to bring all sorts of things to the surface. And let's say, it brings up feelings of like, not this again, or those people, like the system, you know what I mean? Like it just brings up all of this mind chatter. So stay neutral, and just clear that out at the end of the day. And just we can say collectively, we're ready for something better. We don't want to keep going around in circles. Like every country is the same. We don't want to keep going around in circles where one party gets removed and the same people come in, and it's the same story with different names, and we're not getting anywhere. We're just going around in circles. So we all collectively.
Yeah, it's what I've learned all throughout time is it's always about control. They always want to control us, and they never want to do anything that really, really, really benefit the public. I mean, like nobody's ever done anything very life-changing.
Because it's part of the Matrix, right? So the Matrix control systems the big one is your head office. And there's a big one in London. And where's the other big one? There's 3 of them, really. I would think Geneva is another one. And then they've got little control. They're controlling. Now we all know we don't really have sovereignty and freedom and independence like we were told. We're
exactly.
in this, it's part of the game. Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens. I affirm blessings for all countries, for all of the collective and humanity, but I do feel your country is a big part of the story, and there's going to be lots of news coming out about this.
Yeah, I agree. It's really starting to heat up, I guess, and people get so behind all that. I like to kind of unplug from all of it, if that makes any sense, No,
it's a wise thing to do. Like, just watch the movie unfold, like watch what's happening and see, right? Like, it's going to be interesting to see who makes it to November.
Yeah.
Right. And how the tides turn. And maybe, I don't know, but maybe one perspective is what happened in the previous election wasn't truthful. And
that's a big thing,
right? So a lot of that, maybe a lot of that will come out before November.
Yeah.
And maybe
I think it is. I think it is starting to come. I think people are starting to see, like, that there's one. It's one side of the government is very connected to the deep state and the cabal, and it's sad to say that, but they really are. But I think all sides are, it's kind of just like
I feel like let's say somebody a really decent soul thinks, oh, I want to change the world, so I'm going to run and do this, that, and the other thing. And I think once they get in there, they just get depleted because they just realize, like, they're working up against a machine. Right?
Yeah. And there's a shadow government people forget that runs everything. That seems to be, these are the same people that have the black ops UFO technology. These are the same people that are abducting people out of their house on military abductions. These are the same people that are performing targeted individual operations, making people think they're crazy, but they're not really crazy. They're just targeted. And this is all that's going on. The regular government has no clue of this. These are the people kind of pulling the strings of, like, all the sadistic shit that's going on. I think.
Yeah, and I think that too. Like, if you're feel you're a targeted individual, well, that's another part of your journey, is to claim your sovereignty and work on. There are lots of tools that we can use to elevate us to a timeline and a frequency where they can't find us. Where they can't do that anymore, right? Like, I've worked with clients too that have gone through abduction experiences, and the thing is that we worked on clearing out tracking tags and soul contracts that allowed that to happen. Because, so that's why I sometimes go through interference as well, because they don't want me to help individuals.
But here's my question: like, how does someone know when they're signing a soul contract like that? Do they think they're manipulated into these contracts, and then and then all of a sudden now they're in this life and they have this soul contract that they never even knew about or agreed to, or that they felt like they were manipulated into, and now they have to wipe that out? What do you think about that?
Okay, so that's when it gets into, like, this multi-dimensional galactic stuff. So some of the contracts are ancestral. Some of the contracts, like, our ancestors agreed to under duress. And if you think about it, we don't just have Akashic records and stories from this lifetime. We've got them from other planets. Some of us were coerced into being, like, working with the reptilians. And, so I go through this thing now where I just forgive everyone. I'm just like, I don't even know if it's on planet, off planet, who I was involved with. I forgive everyone through all directions of time. And that's what I help clients with too, because if you have the same thing occurring over and over again, like a repetitious cycle, like a repeating pattern of things happening over and over again, that is the contract.
Yeah.
That's a soul contract. We absolutely are sovereign to release those contracts. That's why I help some people, though, because some people don't know that they have that. Some of it's not personal. Some of it is ancestral, that our ancestors agreed to. And I've had all sorts of weird things pop up this last year, of things that apparently I needed to know about, like all the way from the reptilians connection to someone in my family to, dark ETs to all sorts of things. So I kind of help people narrow down if they need to know that information. But yeah, it's wacky. This journey that we're on right now is crazy. Some of the pieces of information that are coming forward are crazy. But I want everyone to be hopeful, knowing that if you feel like you have been going through this experience of being targeted, well, you're a sovereign being. And you can work with different people to stop that. It doesn't have to continue. And they don't want you to, and they don't want you to know that. They want you to continue to go into victim mode and to be in fear.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. So there's ways to beat that. There's ways to get out of that. You're saying.
Absolutely. But yeah, they don't, and that's the thing. They don't want to know, they don't want us to know how powerful we are as humanity.
Yeah.
We have.
Well, Donna says in the chat, she says we have to forgive. She says that's emotionally important. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like forgiveness and gratitude are two of our superpowers that have been kind of like, what's the word I want to look for? That have kind of been like shoved under the rug. Like, no, I don't want to forgive that person, right? I don't know. Like, I'm still angry. I'm still upset or whatever. But the thing is like, guess what? That's your get out of soul contract free card. Like, and that's another reason I help clients too, because the thing is that they might come to me and they're so upset. They don't want to forgive. So I do the forgiveness for them with source. I do the forgiveness for them through all directions of time, and it cleans up all the timelines, but it's not fun. And I would say most of us have had experiences that have not been fun recently. Right.
And I've noticed gratitude is a manifestation tool. The more gratitude you feel, the more positive you're going to be, and the more you're going to manifest. For some reason, it helps to be in a positive state when you're trying to manifest money. If you're in a negative state, you're just going to be trapped in a poverty cycle. But if you somehow are able to raise your vibration, or I don't even want to sound new agey, but if you're able to like raise your what's the word? I'm not trying to sound new age. You're
raising your frequency. So if we think about it, they want to keep us in a lower frequency because that keeps us stuck in 3D. So they want if we look at that chart, I think even Dawn had sent you a chart. If you look at that chart, and if we get pushed down into like grief, and grief is something that we have to work through. Like it's a thing that we all feel when we lose someone that we love, or any, our job, or all of that. So let's think about something else. Let's say we're angry. Let's say somebody betrayed us. Let's say we were really good friends. We were in a relationship, and we find out that individual cheated on us or betrayed us. So that's going to throw us into a lower frequency. What gratitude does is it moves you back into your heart chakra. So it moves you into the heart chakra frequency. And then if we think about timelines, it takes you out of the 3D timeline.
Yeah.
So you're on a different frequency and timeline. And so gratitude and forgiveness are like two of our superpowers. They really are important. You don't have to really believe in the forgiveness. The forgiveness is just about letting go of that old timeline and releasing yourself from it. Yeah.
I agree.
And we're all about, we don't want to allow them to control us anymore. We want to be free and sovereign. So one step at a time, one soul contract at a time.
My forgiveness I had to was so hard. I had to like kind of like forgive my ex, I was feeling like for a year and a half now. I've been feeling so much anger and resentment like towards my ex, and I was like, why did this happen to me, and like why did she do this? And I kept going over it in my head, and even I would meet new women, and it didn't matter. I was like, I was still like focused, and I was like fixated on like why this relationship went to, why, I just kept asking why, and I was so angry, and I would tend to get triggered and stuff. But I guess you just have to forgive. You just have to let it go, and you have to let it go, because otherwise it'll muster, and it could turn into cancer. I think that's what was happening. I think that's why my liver was hurting. So like, these emotions.
Sorry, Rob. And I was going to say what it does is it keeps you in the past.
Yeah.
So it's tied to an old timeline, and you can't move forward. It'll block your manifestations. It'll block your trying to raise your frequency. It'll block you wanting to have a new life. Absolutely. I would say relationship heartache and betrayal and abandonment are like the biggest key wounds that keep us in a circle, right? So what I want to share with you though is when we love someone so deeply, and when they leave or we leave or it ends and it hurts us so deeply, that's a multidimensional relationship. So that also means that you and this individual have already been through that circle a number of times, and you were probably so hurt because both of you thought it would work again this time.
Oh, Maya told me about it. My friend Maya that I went to Florida with, she had to explain my hypnosis sessions to me again. She knows the whole story of me and
Yes.
Nikki. I guess Nikki and me, my ex and I, we had a past life in Egypt. Maya
Uh-huh.
thinks that like I was actually Imhotep. I don't know if I believe this, but she thinks I was. And my wife we died I died early in that life or something in Egypt. What's weird is I had a past life regression where I went to Egypt and saw my ex.
I just got my God bump, so that's a yes.
Yeah, and my ex had a past life regression where she saw me and she saw the whole story, and it was basically like almost like the story of the mummy or something. Like Maya knows all about this. She told me, she's like, you got to go back and listen to your session. She said,
Yeah.
She said, and I was like, holy heck, like I didn't realize it was that deep. What happened,
Well,
because
that's how you know.
I,
That's how you know, because
yeah,
it's still impact. Like you're getting through it now. But when something hits us so deeply and it takes us a long time to process it and let it go and move forward, it's because it's a multidimensional soul contract where you two have been together before and it didn't work out then either. And on a soul level, you had another opportunity to make it better. It's very twin flamish, actually.
yeah,
It's very twin
yeah,
flamish. So I just
yeah,
pulled some cards around that just to see. So we got Isis that came up, which is connected to Egypt. So that's a confirmation that you did have a lifetime with her in Egypt. You also the Orion card came in. So you and this soul also know each other galactically. You also had a connection through the galactic wars and the Orion system. So that's huge. Like that means that
yeah,
you and her agreed to come back to this planet and heal what you could and try to be together. But sometimes the not being together heals it. So sometimes
yeah,
the trying to keep it together makes it worse, and sometimes the not being together makes both souls go back into their deep shadow work and do the healing and heal it on a soul level. Okay. You also got like it's interesting, you got the inner earth message as well, but it's around the root chakra. So the root chakra is like the root chakra is where a lot of our traumas are that we're all healing right now. The root chakra is our survival chakra. So both of you, if you think about this too, Rob, you wouldn't be where you are right now, maybe if you were still with her and vice versa. So there wasn't a stable root chakra connection there for both of you at that time. It
yeah.
just wasn't. You both had to go through growing and healing. So I understand. Yeah. I understand. Been there, my friend, many times, multiple times. So you're doing great, right? But oftentimes these amazing connections will come into our lives. I always equate it to like these two stars that kind of come in and collide and to create like another universe and galaxy, and then they have to spin out and go off and do their own thing. So
Yeah, that's interesting, right?
yeah.
By the way, can you see the stars in my studio? Like I have this projection in the background, which is you see doing an image. Then it stops, and then stars will pop up behind me. I have a projector. It's like a little. I got this off of Temu. It's hilarious. It's like a little.
I love Temu.
Wait,
I love Temu.
it's a little spaceman, and he projects like Wait, let me see if I can show you. It projects an image on the back, and then it projects like
I
you can
love
see
it.
the.
Because I've seen people like put it on their ceilings. So
it projects like stars, but it's like it's doing it on the screen, which is pretty cool, you know.
I love it. I love it. I see it a little bit. Your screen's a little small, like because I'm looking at you right now. But yeah, I do see it. That's
There it is. It's projected on the wall now. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I like using the different lights and stuff. I don't know. I like messing with them, but.
I've seen that. Like I've seen an ad for it, and I thought, how cool is that? If you're very homesick as a starseed or a light worker, you're very homesick from being down on this planet and trying to figure out like how to make it better, or like where a lot of us are from. We already know about all this technology because we're from the future. So it's been challenging for a lot of us to be here and wait for everything to kind of accelerate. But we wanted it to accelerate in a positive way because humanity's been controlled for so long, and all of us have still people in our lives that have no idea what's going on. They have absolutely no idea what's going on. They think that so I've been snoozing since the announcements on the weekend. I've been snoozing a few people on my Facebook because they're showing me already that they're going to be rah one team or the other in a big way from now through November. And it's like, no, I'm not having that in my feed. Sorry. You can want whoever you want, right? Do you want me to do the collective reading for us for the Lionsgate?
Yeah, we can do it in about an hour. I was going to say I got to go before we do the other show, but I do the other show, but I can say we can do a collective reading real quick. I think we have time.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody booked any readings, but I wanted to make sure.
No, not today.
Okay, okay, that's fine. So in the title, when I talked about dark interference, some of your initiations right now might be strange. So they might be weird dreams. They might be having some things happen at your home. So find a sovereignty statement, find like a binaural beats or a meditation that you can play in the background and take your power back. We're being given an opportunity right now to do that and to get all of our tools in our toolbox, like brush them all off. It's go time now. It's not sitting around waiting for something to happen. If we have any weird visitations, no, sovereign. Our home is sovereign. So find some way to clean it up. Maybe you need to sage every day, you know, that kind of thing. Like I've had I'll talk to you about it next time. I had some weird thing that has been going on since the equinox in March. I didn't even know about it. It didn't surface until Monday, the 22nd. And I cleaned it out and it was huge.
Wow.
So that was my initiation. That was my initiation. And it was like shielded or blocked. Like I couldn't figure out where all of this weirdness was coming from. But I just did a live about this. Like a lot of us have been going through kind of a dark night of the soul because there's been initiations, tests, attacks, whatever you want to call it, happening in the background. How do they find us? It's multidimensional. Think of a bicycle with spokes. They will find their way through a trauma, an ancestral contract, a dark ET scenario where you played on the other team. And then we have to clean that up through forgiveness and close it off. Okay. So I asked just specifically, what do we need to know about the Lionsgate? So for all of you who don't know, the Lionsgate is on the 8th of August. It's a powerful time to manifest, to set intentions for ourselves and the collective. It's also where we're building up our power center, our solar plexus and our throat chakra. And it's an amazing time to level up, like especially for all of us that are awake. Okay. So the first card I pulled was Halls of Amenti Initiation. I can't make this up. There's that checkered floorboard. This is like the connection for me to the Masonic, the old energy that's been controlling humanity. Okay, all these old contracts that people. So maybe you and I didn't agree to a contract, but maybe our ancestors did. So be aware of any weird stuff that's coming up. If it's a repetitive pattern, it's for you to detox and let yourself go of the current matrix for yourself and your ancestors. Kuan Yin's pink dragon came in to assist, and it's all about a karmic balance and a karmic reset. Okay, so this is a powerful time for us to do that. Next message, this is the Temple of Truth. So one of the spiritual superpower, the outcome for all of us at this time that we're being tested about is our throat chakra can come online more. When that opens up more, the upper technology comes online. Our third eye, our abilities to see, to hear, to have our clairaudience come online, like any of those clairs that you wanted, any of your intuitive abilities. This is a potential time to level up to be able to do that. The other thing they're letting me know is that I always share this, spend time near water and nature to ground. The energy, the solar flares are going to increase from now through the Lionsgate. We're going to need naps, like what Rob and I were just talking about. A black dragon came in with a feather. So this is like to visualize your dreams to help manifest a new world for yourself and for your family and your friends. Okay. Then the overall message is Gaia. So Gaia herself is also getting activated right now. Those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, intense, especially here in North America, heat waves, you know, temperatures that we've never experienced before, pushing people indoors to stay cool. Other side of the planet, they're getting floods and rain. So the weather is all out of whack everywhere, but it's kind of pushing everybody indoors. But try to spend as much time as you can in nature when you need to regroup, because nature and the trees and the water will reground you, reset you. And then we got the Earth Dragon that came out. I love it. So much information about the Earth, but the Earth is she's also accelerating. She's also ascending. She is preparing for us to be on new Earth as well. And then the Earth Dragon came in. It just says, clears the path and the land around you. Stay grounded. Be ready to serve. Stuck energy is clearing so you can move forward in life. So I want to end on that.
Yeah, I like that.
Love my dragons.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. Yeah, this was an amazing show. I thought this went really well today. And again, I'm sorry guys for being late. It was my fault. But
No,
yeah.
we're okay. We're glad.
Do
We're
you want
glad
do you
you're
want to
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell everybody where they can find you and everything? And thank you. This was amazing. It was fun as always. It was good.
It was amazing. I loved it all. Thanks everyone for being here. Yeah, if you all would like to work with me, I've got some availability. For the first time ever, I've got a couple of Saturday sessions before the Lionsgate to clear multidimensionally, release contracts, all of that. But if you also want to learn about the dragons or just contact me, is my website and also my email. The best way to find me. I'm also going to be doing a live on my channel in about 15 minutes if you want to join me over there too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you, PinkBella, and thank you everybody for tuning in. And I'll be live tonight with all the people from the conference. This is at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's supposed to start. So yeah, I'll see you guys then. And thank you, PinkBella, and have a good night, everybody. Take
Aloha,
care.
everyone.